Hey, good morning. This is Rebecca Simon Peter with Spiritual Mojo. It's 15 minutes to uplift your spirit, uplevel your faith, and uphold your consciousness. And I'm here with you today on Sunday, July 18th. Today I want to talk with you about how to be your best self for the world. How to be your best self for the world. Deep inside each and every one of us is the Spirit of God, the Spirit of life that is breathed into us, that is experienced in our soul, and that is housed in our body. So we start out with a plus. We're not starting with a deficit. We start with a plus. First off, we're alive, we're on the planet, and we can't be here without the Spirit of God enlivening us, vivifying us, and literally breathing the breath of life into us. The next question is, what do you do with this life? As Mary Oliver asked, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? What will you do with this life that you've been given? How do you be your best self? And how do you be your best self for the world? It's a question I've been asking myself recently as I've thought about the racism that we're dealing with on the planet, as I've thought about the political unrest that we're dealing with, the leadership of the country, and the pandemic, and the polarization, and should you wear a mask, and is it a political statement, and kind of all the craziness that's going on out there. And I want to bring it back to just some really simple teachings of our friend and brother, Jesus. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's the golden rule. We all know it. It's interesting because the golden rule came into being through the teachings of Jesus right around the same time that it came into being through the teachings of other wise teachers and beautiful sacred traditions around the planet. In fact, every major religious tradition has its own version of the golden rule, all of which appeared within, historically speaking, a brief period of time, at the time that it was disparate lengths of time that it showed up. But the golden rule is something that we know now across the planet. Treat people the way you want to be treated. There's a corollary to that, which I call the platinum rule, one grade higher, one quality up, and that's treat people the way they want to be treated. And when you put those two together, the golden rule and the platinum rule, what you have is a sense of tuning into the people around you and being aware of them and their needs as if they were as important as your own. That's a tall order. I mean, it's actually hard to do that. That's very hard to do. But I think what it does do is bring our heart up to a new level. It does train our vibration at a higher level. And it does ask us to understand that we are so interrelated and so interdependent with the people around us that what one of us does impacts the people around us. What I do impacts you. Even if it's at a level of the psyche, even if it's at the collective unconscious, even if it's at the level of the heart vibration. What I do impacts you. What you do impacts me. We're all in this together. As I write in the book, Dream Like Jesus, God is not a discrete being that is somehow lorded over us or apart from us. God is beingness itself, that quality of being, that quality of life that is within us and that is within all of us and that connects all of us. So if we start from that premise, when I am being my best self, I am contributing something to the planet that helps uphold your spirit, that helps uplift your consciousness and enlivens your way of being, and vice versa. There's a lot of competing energies that are being put out in the world right now. You can feel it. Turn on the news, you hear it. Look at the newspaper, read it online, you see it. Listen to your neighbors, you can feel it. Get on Facebook, you can definitely be torn apart by it. And yet when we tune deep, deep, deep within in our own spirit, what we feel is a unity, a oneness. And it starts by feeling united and one with ourselves, united and one with God. And from there we can be united and one with the people around us. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people the way they want to be treated. That's all part of the field that we call emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is distinct from intellectual intelligence. It's an emotional intelligence of the heart. It's an awareness and a wisdom of the heart. There are 5 components to it, and they include 2 or 3 that I want to lift up to you today. The first one is empathy. Empathy is like putting myself in your shoes. What must it be like to be you? What must it feel like to have your life experiences? How must it seem to you? How must the world seem to you? When I practice empathy, that is the deepest part of being able to do unto you as you would like to be done unto, because now I have a sense, however incorrect it may be, I have a sense, I have a desire to sense what life is like for you. Empathy is very important in these days, because if I want to treat you well, then I'm going to look and see, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that you need? What are the forces you're up against? What are the limitations that you experience? And how can I live in such a way and relate to you in such a way that your life experience is dignified, that your life experience is honored, that your life experience is treated as valuable? Racism at its core says people of a certain, quote, race, of a certain way of looking, their life is more valuable than the people of this other way of looking, or this other ethnicity and race. But when we're practicing the golden rule, we're saying every life is valued, every life is dignified, and every life is interconnected, and every life matters. And so I will treat each and every person in the way that dignifies and upholds and uplifts their life. Empathy is a very important part of living in today's world. Wearing a mask. People, I think it's about empathy. My doctor told me that I had an extremely mild case of the coronavirus. I have antibodies. I don't actually need, quote, to wear a mask. I wear one. Why? Because I want to model respecting my neighbors. And if I'm a carrier, even if I'm not going to feel anything, I don't want to pass that on to other people. And so I wear a mask as a sign of respect. I wear a mask as a sign of respect of the science. I wear a mask as a sign of respect of my neighbors, and that we're all in this together. So when it comes to the pandemic, there's the wearing of the mask. When it comes to racism, there is understanding, trying very hard to understand what is it like for other people. Walk a mile in their shoes, and then learn to honor and dignify their life and their life experience. The second related quality of emotional intelligence is motivation. Once I feel empathy for you, and then I begin to understand what your life experience must be like, by God, I am motivated to do whatever I can to make sure that you have the very best life possible. And we've seen this in the demonstrations that have happened across the United States after the killing of George Floyd. We've seen this in the solidarity, Black, white, Latino, African American, Native American, people from all nationalities coming together, expressing solidarity, basically saying, look, enough is enough. When will we get that we're all one together, and that our laws, our practices, our traditions, our customs, the way we look at each other must and need to reflect that? Yesterday, or was it the day before, we lost 2 giants from the civil rights movement, Representative John Lewis and Reverend C.T. Vivian. These men were extremely important in the original movements towards civil rights in the United States, and they were part of the bus boycotts and the desegregation efforts that happened across the South. And they were people that stood, they were motivated, they had empathy for their fellow man and woman, and they were motivated to be in solidarity with and to make the lives of people better. That's a beautiful example of motivation. There are other ways of being motivated to be in solidarity with the people around you. You may not do something as grand as organize bus boycotts or be beaten for your beliefs or for the rights of others. But there are things that we can do every single day. Stand up, tell the truth, defend people, resist racism, evil, injustice, in whatever forms that those oppressions may exist. There are things we can do like write the powers that be, go speak with our local police departments, ask, inquire, get engaged, be involved. There are also book studies that you can be involved with that will teach you more and more about how to stand in solidarity with people that need our forward movement, our justice-mindedness, our divine impulse for all to be honored and dignified. As we practice empathy, as we practice motivation, next we come to the emotional intelligence skill of social skill. Social skill is basically leadership. And leadership is where you hold out a positive vision of the future, an uplifting vision of the future that's bigger than you are, and that moves people in a positive direction, and you engage other people in that vision. You move people forward in a positive, forward, unified direction. I write in my book, Dream Like Jesus, about the 5 surprise elements of a Jesus-like dream, and they include about a vision or a Jesus-like dream expands assumptions about what's possible. It's bigger than you are. It scares you because it requires divine partnership. It's not about your own survival. It's about the survival and the thriving of something greater than you. And it inspires people and it unifies people. Leadership embodies those 5 surprise elements of a Jesus-like dream by calling people into a brand new future that's even now being imagined, even now being lived out, even now co-created. People, we are called to be our best selves for one another by living the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, by living the platinum rule, treat people the way they want to be treated, by being our best selves for our neighbors in the pandemic and the calls for racial justice in a world that seems endlessly polarized, to come together with a shared positive vision for the future. Now, you may have a shared positive vision for the future that looks like there's going to be no trash in our neighborhood. I'm going to clean up the trash and I'm going to invite my neighbors to come pick up trash with me. That will make a beautiful difference. You might have a vision like nobody in my neighborhood is going to be without a friend or without comfort or without somebody to run to the grocery store for them. And you organize your neighbors to do just such a thing. What a beautiful vision that may be. Your vision may be, my family, by golly, is going to get together and we are going to like it. And you organize Zoom meetings for people to come together, for there to be reconciliation, for there to be love and understanding with one another. You've just made an incredible difference. Your vision may be, this world will be a better place because I lived here. And you are determined to go around with a smile on your face, with love in your heart, and with kindness in your hands. What a beautiful vision that would be. Each and every one of us has a God-sized dream within our heart because God is within our hearts. My invitation to you this week is to tune in, to tap in, and to find out what that dream is. What dream, what kindness beats within your heart. Begin to give that voice. Begin to share it with the people around you. Begin to have the guts to dream like Jesus and share that dream around. The world will be a better place because you have lived to be your best self. Well, that's Spiritual Mojo for today. God loves you. I love you. I always look forward to being together. And may this message inspire you and delight you throughout this coming week. And I'll see you next week. Take care.